The podcasting technology of NORML is made possible by Red Aphid Interactive Media. More information at redaphid.com.
This is Soja, Soldiers of Jah Army, and you're listening to NORML's Daily Audio Stash. Big up yourself.
And distributed by the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws in Washington, D.C. This is your Daily Audio Stash, the growing truth about cannabis. Welcome to the most popular audio podcast regarding marijuana in all of America and all the world, featuring interviews with scientists, politicians, doctors, prohibition policy activists, regular cannabis consumers, musicians, and NORML staff and NORML's board of directors, along with music and comedy no other podcast can offer. You can always find out more about the show at our website, NORMLAudioStash.com. We're ending marijuana prohibition with education, one listener at a time. Welcome back to the Audio Stash on this hot Monday, July the 9th. I'm your host, Chris Goldstein. Take a moment to join us at NORML to end marijuana prohibition in America. Won't happen without your support. Just visit norml.org to get involved with legalization today. Got a great show for you here today. First, folks, there is going to be a major benefit concert for NORML and other marijuana law reform organizations. It's taking place on August the 10th in Austin, Texas. Willie Nelson will be on stage in this exclusive benefit concert. We have links for more information about it on our website today at normalaudiostash.com. It's going to be called the Austin Freedom Rally. Alan St. Pierre, NORML's executive director, is going to join us today here on the Audio Stash to talk about this really big event. And also stay tuned every day here to the Audio Stash because we're going to give a couple of tickets away to that Austin concert. Speaking of giveaways, by the time this podcast airs today, July the 9th, everyone who won a potluck CD or t-shirt has been notified via email. We had over 150 entries for that. Thank you to everyone who participated in our giveaway, and big congratulations to the 5 winners who got a potluck CD. One lucky person got a CD and a t-shirt. Make sure to check your email and send us back the information we need to get you your CDs. And again, a huge thanks to Suburban Noise Records and the members of Potluck for helping us out with that promotion. You can hear our interviews with Potluck. They took place last week on Thursday and Friday. You can hear those shows right up on our website at normalaudiostash.com. Also joining us on the program today is Mason Tvert. He's the director of Safer Alternative for Enjoyable Recreation, or SAFER. They've got a new municipal initiative taking place this fall in Denver, and they got loads of signatures in the initial petition process. Mason's joining us today to talk about that new initiative and also his experience at the NORML Aspen Legal Seminars. And Mason is the co-founder of a brand new NORML chapter, Colorado's new statewide NORML. So Mason Tvert here on the Audio Stash today. Tomorrow's Audio Stash in Government at Work, we're going to talk about Texas's new legislation that gives police officers more discretion in how they handle minor marijuana possession cases. From here on out, Texas police officers will have the option to issue a citation instead of arresting individuals for minor marijuana possession. Josh Emberg from Austin NORML will join us tomorrow to talk about the legislation, along with attorney Larry Sauer. We're going to start things off today with a rundown of important marijuana news-related items. Let's open up our stash today with those stories right now. First up, Colorado judge suspends limit on number of patients. From Denver, Colorado. On Tuesday, July the 3rd, Chief Denver District Court Judge Larry Naves issued a temporary injunction blocking the enforcement of a rule limiting to 5 the number of patients to whom a caregiver can provide medical marijuana under state law. The ruling came in a case brought by a 47-year-old man suffering from AIDS and hepatitis C. The patient, Denver resident David Lagoy, had asked the state to designate one Daniel J. Pope to serve as his medical marijuana caregiver. The state had refused to permit Pope to serve in this capacity because he was already the authorized caregiver for 5 other patients. In 2000, voters approved Amendment 20, the Colorado medical marijuana law, which permitted authorized caregivers to grow and provide marijuana to authorized patients. Under the law, caregivers must have, quote, significant responsibility for managing the well-being of a patient, close quote, but no limit on the number of patients was included. The Colorado Department of Health subsequently adopted a rule limiting a caregiver to no more than 5 patients. The judge said the rule was arbitrarily enacted without public input, putting patients at risk. The injunction applies to all medical marijuana patients and caregivers statewide. The suit challenging the limitation on the number of patients a caregiver may serve was brought by NORML Legal Committee members Robert J. Corey and Sean McAllister, and Brian Vincente, the head of Sensible Colorado, a medical marijuana advocacy group in the state. For additional information on this story, you can contact Brian Vincente at Sensible Colorado at area code 720-890-4247, or Keith Strupp, NORML's legal counsel, at 202-483-5500. Next up today from Austin, Texas. Pending Texas law gives cops discretion in minor pot cases. Legislation that will go into effect in September grants police the option of issuing citations to minor marijuana offenders in lieu of making a criminal arrest. The new law was passed by the legislature to reduce criminal justice costs associated with the prosecution of certain misdemeanor crimes. Under House Bill 2391, law enforcement will have the discretion to issue a citation mandating local individuals who commit specific Class A or Class B misdemeanor crimes to appear in court. An arrest warrant will be issued for defendants who fail to appear in court by the date specified in the citation. Under Texas law, possession of up to 4 ounces of marijuana is a misdemeanor offense, punishable by up to 1 year in jail and a fine of up to $4,000. Individuals who sell less than 1/4 ounce of cannabis are also guilty of a misdemeanor. The possession and or sale of larger quantities of cannabis are felony offenses. According to U.S. FBI data, approximately 95% of all marijuana arrests in Texas are for misdemeanor possession. House Bill 2391 goes into effect September 1st, 2007. Our final story today comes from Jacksonville, Florida. Doctors not proficient at interpreting drug tests. Physicians who administer urine drug tests to their patients frequently misinterpret the results, according to data published recently in the Journal of Opioid Management. The study posed 7 multiple-choice questions to physicians who employ urinalysis to monitor their patients' opioid therapy. Investigators reported that none of the doctors surveyed answered all 7 questions accurately. Only 30% answered more than half correctly. Quote, physicians who employ urine drug testing to monitor patients' drug use are not proficient in test interpretation, close quote, authors concluded. They continued, quote, this study highlights the need for improved physician education, close quote. A 2006 Harvard Medical School study of pediatricians who order drug screens for their patients reported that few physicians knew how to properly administer the tests or how to correctly interpret the results. More information about this story is available at NORML.org. Next up today, folks, mark your calendar right now. There's a major event taking place on August the 10th. One of NORML's highest profile advisory board members and longtime friend of the foundation, Willie Nelson, will be holding a benefit concert in Austin, Texas to support marijuana law reform, and NORML specifically, along with 2 other marijuana law reform groups. We have links for more information about the Austin Freedom Rally at normalaudiostash.com. But let's get the lowdown on this exciting event with Alan St. Pierre, NORML's Executive Director. Alan, welcome back here to the Audio Stash today.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Alan, and how are things in Washington, D.C. today?
It is like 150 degrees.
Sounds like everyone in D.C. is in the hot seat for a change. Now, Alan, this Austin Freedom Rally, tell us how Willie got involved.
After many, many years of asking Willie, wouldn't you like to get up on stage and strum your guitar a little bit and have a whole bunch of people in front of you and all the money go to a group like NORML? We've been working him for, 20 or more years to do a concert. He's done all kinds of great things for NORML. He's made big donations. He's put on celebrity golf tournaments, but he's never done the thing that he does 220 days a year, and that is get up and do a concert, in this sense, for freedom.
And how did this all end up taking place in Austin at a venue called the Backyard?
Absolutely. Talk about 150 degrees. In August, I think we're all going to be in a serious workout mode down there. And how this came about mainly was the backup band for Willie this year while he's touring is the very famous Texas-based band Asleep at the Wheel. And Ray Benson, the leader of that band, has been working with Texas NORML and Texans for medical marijuana for a number of years. And so Willie finally said, listen, NORML really has been wanting to do a concert. Ray said, sure, let's do it, and let's make sure that some of the money stays local. And they originally wanted about a third of the funding to go to Texans for Medical Marijuana, which is essentially a Texas-based chapter of the Marijuana Policy Project dealing with their medical marijuana initiatives and legislative endeavors. And so, in essence now, the 3 groups who are going to receive the proceeds from this are NORML, MPP, and WHAM, which stands for Women's Alliance for Medical Marijuana in Santa Cruz, because what pulled this all together ultimately was I sent a note to Willie Nelson about 2 months ago asking if he was in a position to help WHAM, whether it's put on a concert for them, maybe kick a little funding their way, because of the hundreds of different medical marijuana dispensaries and cooperatives, arguably, WHAM is one of the only ones that is 100% nonprofit. If you can't afford the marijuana, they'll give it to you. And they also have a division there that is essentially a hospice, a sort of stay high till you die on the West Coast. And so Willie said, listen, if you really think that's an important group to get some funding to, let's do the concert. And that's what really did it, was WHAM's need for funding.
And Willie will not be alone. There are a number of other performers with him on stage for this event. Carolyn Wonderland, Paula Nelson, also Jackie the Joke Man, who was at the Stony Awards last year.
Absolutely. I think we can all... I want to see how many people Jackie can offend in Texas and not be shot at. I'm not standing anywhere close to Jackie on stage.
Jackie's a very funny guy. And also emceeing the event is the sports star of NORML's advisory board and a much-loved figure there in Texas.
We would be remiss, we'd be malfeasant if we didn't ask former Dallas Cowboys star, 3-time Pro Bowl, 4-time Super Bowl winner, if I'm not incorrect, Mark Stepnoski. He's also the former head of Texas NORML. So if there's any one person to stand on stage and enjoy the warm respect, if you will, of the audience, it's going to be Mark Stepnoski, and we're really looking forward to seeing him down in Texas.
So this is really an all-Texas, all-star group of individuals coming out to benefit marijuana law reform.
It is, and we're really glad. And thankfully, there's an impetus for them to do this because there's been medical marijuana legislation the last couple of years, because there's been marijuana decriminalization bills introduced in Texas, that we couldn't have had this 5 years ago. I don't think that Willie and Ray would have thought that there was enough serious legislative issues to peg this concert to, but as it's called, the Austin Freedom Festival, because at this point there's some bills in Texas that need to be passed so people can get their freedom.
And Alan, tickets go on sale this week, July the 14th. You'll be able to get them online. So how many supporters will actually be able to see this concert in person?
Well, if I'm not incorrect, the venue holds 5,200 people, so this should be a pretty good-sized concert. And there's a couple of strata of seats. There's $55 and $45 seats, and they will likely sell out very, very quickly. So for those who are interested, if they want to attend this, as soon as the tickets are made available, it behooves them to purchase them.
Righto, Alan. Well, thank you again for joining us here today, and we'll be talking more about this event closer to its air date, I'm sure.
I look forward to it. Thanks, Chris.
Alan St. Pierre is NORML's executive director. He joined us by phone today from a scorching Washington, D.C. We have links for more information about the Austin Freedom Rally on our website at normalaudiostash.com.
Almost busted in Laredo, but for reasons that I'd rather not disclose.
I smoke pot, and I like it a lot. Hi, this is Willie Nelson. I learned a long time ago that marijuana is a lot safer to use than alcohol. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the responsible use of marijuana by adults. It's time we stopped arresting and started respecting responsible marijuana smokers in America. And to learn what you can do to help, please contact NORML at www.norml.org or call toll-free at 888-67-NORML.
The show was long and we were just sitting there, and we'd come to play and not just for the ride.
Next up today, it's time to cool off and head to the high mountains. Joining us today to discuss a variety of important activities happening in the state where Rocky Mountain High is one of the official state songs is Mason Tvert, the director of Safer Alternative for Enjoyable Recreation, or SAFER, and also the co-founder of the new statewide chapter of NORML there. Mason, welcome back to the Audio Stash today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Great to speak with you today, Mason. First, let's talk about the Safer Denver initiative that's in the works for this fall. I hear you guys had a massive show of support from Denver citizens in the initial petition drive.
Yeah, we actually only needed about 4,000 to put a measure on the ballot this time around, but in just 30 days we did more than 10,500. So we have demonstrated once again that people want to see change here, and we're really hoping that the city officials will take notice of that this time.
Oh, that's just a huge turnout there. Over 10,000. That's more than the total population of many southern Colorado towns.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that we did it in such a short amount of time and with so little money, we really didn't spend a whole lot. Just like I said, goes to show the support for this stuff around here. This is the third year in a row that people in Denver have been asked to stop and sign these petitions, and they're still willing to do so. So just as a good sign all around.
And Mason, tell us about the initiative and what it would enact.
Well, this is the lowest law enforcement priority initiative, much like that passed in Seattle and in a number of California cities, as well as Missoula, Montana, and basically it would create a new ordinance designating possession of small amounts of marijuana as the city's lowest law enforcement priority. And since we've already passed a measure making it legal under city law, and they're still enforcing the state law, we're basically ordering the police and prosecutors to make that state law the city's lowest priority.
And how has that local legislation, the local legalization initiative in Denver worked? You mentioned police still upholding state law. Is that being done reluctantly or enthusiastically on their part?
You know, I don't think you can really generalize on each police officer's intentions. I'm sure sometimes they may not think it's a good idea, but basically they've been ordered to do so. So it is, I would unfortunately have to say, to some extent enthusiastically on the part of decision makers, and that they have ordered police to continue enforcing this law, because at any time they could simply order police to stop enforcing it. And the other thing is that arrests have gone up in the city. Granted, arrests for all minor crimes have gone up this past couple years as a result of them implementing broken windows policing here in the state capital. Arrests for marijuana didn't go up as much as other crimes, but they did go up nonetheless. And the fact that we called for no arrest just really makes this that much more bitter.
And Mason, if you would, tell us more about the broken windows policing. It's something some of our listeners may not have heard before.
Broken windows policing is just a theory that if you focus on small crimes, things that, like graffiti, prostitution, small-time things, which unfortunately a lot of times encompasses marijuana, then therefore it'll make it seem like there's a sense of order, and the larger crimes like homicides and assaults and so on won't take place. The notion is that, if you fix the broken windows, it creates a sense of order, and people are more willing to follow in line. But when it comes to marijuana, people don't think that anyone should be getting arrested for this. And as we've pointed out a number of times, we are suggesting that adults should be allowed to use marijuana instead of alcohol, and that might create less crime as a result. That's a theory also. But the thing is that our theory had people vote on it and approve it, whereas this broken windows theory is just an administrative policy on our mayor's part.
Righto. Now let's switch gears here a bit, Mason. I know you got a chance to attend NORML's Aspen Legal Seminars in June, and people talk about the Republic of Boulder in Colorado, but Aspen and the surrounding county have really long been a haven for this type of reform.
Yeah, it definitely does, and Aspen certainly has a very affluent population, and at times a very seasonal population. Some people just own homes there, but don't necessarily live there. But with regards to those people who do live there, yeah, it is very interesting, and when it comes to this issue, very supportive. I mean, during the statewide initiative we ran last year, we not only had support from all the Aspen area newspapers, but we also received an endorsement from the Pitkin County Commission, which is where Aspen's located, as well as endorsements from Sheriff Bob Broadus out there, who's been a long-time supporter of decriminalizing marijuana and reforming our drug laws. So it's certainly its own little nexus out there of people who are very independent-minded and think they should be able to just live the way they'd like to as long as they're not hurting anyone else.
Righto. This year's Aspen Legal Seminars were quite a success, and I'm sure the event will now be held there every year along with the Key West Legal Seminars as well. Also, Mason, there was an important court ruling regarding medical marijuana in Colorado recently. I wondered if you could comment on that for us.
Sure, yeah. I was actually at the hearing. That was handled by Sensible Colorado, which is an organization out here, the primary medical marijuana advocacy group, and good friends of ours. And it was a huge win for patients. They basically argued that this was an arbitrary policy. There was nowhere in the law passed by the people did it say that there was a limit on the number of patients a caregiver could provide. And basically, the case involved Damien Lagoy, who was actually one of the test cases for our Denver law a couple years ago. This is a man with HIV and hepatitis C. He's very sick, and he recently became an official medical marijuana patient. However, he didn't have anyone that could provide him with medical marijuana. He finally did find someone that he trusted that was willing to help him, but unfortunately that person already had 5 patients and was not able to. They petitioned to allow him to have 6 patients, and the state turned it down. They went to court, and ultimately this is what has happened. And right now, it's that whole policy is suspended, and caregivers are allowed to have more than 5 patients, which makes sense. I mean, could you imagine, coming from the doctor, he just told you that you have a rare form of cancer, he gives you a prescription, and you show up at the pharmacist, and the pharmacist says, sorry, I've already got 5 patients. I mean, you'd probably be a little upset about that.
And the legislation, that didn't have a limit built into it as the voters passed it. That was something arbitrarily set by the State Department of Health.
Yeah, exactly. And not only did they do that, did they decide it arbitrarily, but they did it in secret to some extent. They didn't announce it as a public meeting. They took no input from the public. They simply had the couple heads of the department meet in private and just arbitrarily decide this based on recommendations from law enforcement, who obviously would, if in their world, prefer no patients.
Now, it sounds as if the medical access program is really working well there in Colorado.
It's successful, yeah. We don't have nearly as many patients as your California and Oregon and so on, but there's now almost, I think, a couple thousand patients. I think there's somewhere in the vicinity of 1,500 or 1,600, and basically it's more so a matter of getting people to follow the law properly and getting people to be willing to follow the law. That's one of the big things, is that a lot of people are still fearful of having their name involved in a statewide registry. I don't know, some folks may remember a while back when this law initially passed, then Attorney General Ken Salazar and Governor Bill Owens had threatened to turn over medical marijuana patients and doctors to the federal government. That obviously never happened, but just that whole veil of fear has yet to be lifted. A lot of doctors still unwilling to prescribe medicine, but more or less, patients are protected and they have a fair amount of protection. We haven't seen a lot of federal enforcement here, but what we generally find are just these incidences where someone has too many patients or too many plants. So that is also another court case going on here, is someone who is growing more plants than supposedly allowed, but they're arguing that it was medically necessary. So those types of tweaks are still in the works.
And also, as demonstrated by this recent ruling, there is kind of a learning curve for the state government when implementing programs like this.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's very evident with the police. I mean, I've heard countless stories of police arriving at people's homes or finding people in possession of marijuana and being presented with a card or registration, and therefore leaving these people alone. That's how this law was intended to work. It's just unfortunately that sometimes if people aren't following the law directly to a T, they're still going out on a limb to try to arrest and prosecute those people, which is still, in my opinion, unnecessary. I think that there's better ways to deal with it. But, it's definitely seemingly successful.
And what does the medical marijuana ID card actually physically look like there in Colorado?
It's not actually an ID card. It's more so, it looks kind of like almost looks like a car registration. It's almost just like a piece of paper. There's no photo or anything. So it's just an official-looking certificate.
And also, Mason, I know you helped co-found a new statewide chapter of NORML covering all of Colorado.
Yeah, there's a new chapter out at the University of, there's Colorado. Yeah, we've got a couple things going on. There's now an official statewide Colorado NORML affiliate, which is, we actually are meeting today. But there's just getting started. We have had a presence over the last few months, but are really starting to introduce it to a lot of folks out here. And it's really going to serve as a permanent infrastructure for marijuana reform activists in the state. And along with that, we now have a new chapter at the University of Colorado in Boulder, which is also going to be just got active this last semester and is really going to be picking up the pace this coming semester. And we're hoping to continue to spread out and get new satellite chapters going on around the state, and really hope to build it into something special.
And for those interested in starting their own NORML chapter, how was the startup experience for you?
It really wasn't a problem at all. I mean, it's just a matter of sitting down and following the rules. And what's nice is that the National NORML organization provides everything you need and all the guidance you need and all the instructions you need to get things rolling. So it's really just a matter of when you're willing to sit down, follow those guidelines, and get started.
Righto, Mason. Well, thank you for joining us here on the Audio Stash today. I look forward to speaking with you further as the Denver initiative moves forward.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you again, Mason. Mason Tavert is the director of Safer Alternative for Enjoyable Recreation, or SAFER, in Colorado, and co-founder of the new statewide NORML chapter there. We have links to them both at normalaudiostash.com.
They calling me and they chasing me down. It's time to blaze up. I got the best shit around. Go ahead, assholes. I hear it all the time. How much bud do you smoke when you spit down rhymes? You wanna know why I'm so ill? What's my regimen? I put a lot of bud in my lungs, but that's irrelevant. No telling. Half man, half pelican. I pull so many tubes I could kill a fucking elephant. Get in line and smoke that stuff. Lime free, sticky, icky Colorado bud. When push comes to shove, let the smoke rise above and surround yourself with Colorado love. Get in line and smoke that stuff. Lime free, sticky, icky Colorado bud. When push comes to shove, let the smoke rise above and surround yourself with Colorado love. Like a quarterback, I call them up to the line, a line back, quarter sack to the nickel to the dime. Lime sticky green and them buds are full grown, and I got my own fucking song on my cellular phone. Don't front on knees, pounds to QPs, 56 G's makes 2 OZs. Find me anytime, anywhere. there blazing up. It's time to party over here, so yo, fire one up. Stand in line and smoke that stuff. Lime green, sticky, icky, Colorado bud. When push comes to shove, let the smoke rise above and surround yourself with Colorado love. Stand in line and smoke that stuff. Lime green, sticky, icky, Colorado bud. When push comes to shove, let the smoke rise above and surround yourself with Colorado love. And you better be sure, don't be pulling out your money when you walk to my door. You gotta be chill, man, don't be acting stupid. If you didn't understand me, take this lyric and do it. Dave Chappelle says, Samson's got me lifted, cause I'm splifted. I want him gifted the rip shit, insisting on spitting these rhymes. I got my mind on my money and my buzz is smelling funny. Got my mind on my money and my eyes are on the prize. Got my eyes on the prize. Stand in line and smoke that stuff. Lime green, sticky, icky, Colorado bud. When push comes to shove, let the smoke rise above. Surround yourself with Colorado love. Stand in line and smoke that stuff. Lime green, sticky, icky, Colorado bud. When push comes to shove, let the smoke rise above and surround yourself with Colorado love.
That was some fine music found at podshow.com. We have links to all the artists at normalaudiostash.com. You've been listening to NORML's Daily Audio Stash, the growing truth about cannabis. Make sure you visit our website at normalaudiostash.com. That's NORMLAUDIOSTASH.com for more information about every day's show. I'm your host, Chris Goldstein. Thanks for listening today. See you at 4:20 tomorrow.